Is Michigan State peaking at the right time despite a loss in the Big Ten tournament? And what on earth is it like to play in the Big Dance? Hey, we got a guy that actually played in one. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. Please rate, review, subscribe. Comment below how we're all feeling right now, because just straight up, I'm ready to throw up in a bucket, like I am every single March Madness. It's a great time of year, but it is the most nerve-wracking time of year. Guys, here to hold our hand and guide us through what it's actually like to play in an NCAA tournament. It's not just me just shooting from the hip here, just guessing what these players are going through. No. We got friend of the program, Connor George back. And, hold on, I'm sorry. Let's do that again. We have no longer last Michigan State Spartan team member to win a Big Ten championship. Connor, is that okay with you, or are you fine no longer being the last guys in East Lansing to say that they could do it? Is that fine with you?
I am more than happy. I'm so happy for this team, man. They could take it. I wish there was 4 more Big Ten championships between the time I was there and now. So
hopefully we get a new updated Final Four logo that we can all wear right here. And hopefully that you are going to be no longer the last guy on a team at Michigan State to go to a Final Four. But let's start right there, because you're part of that Final Four season. Obviously, you were in the tournament a few years prior to that, so you've gotten a good flavor of both early exits, unfortunately, but also reaching that mountaintop of the Final Four. So when we hear Izzo talk about, yes, that his team feels really comfortable going into the tournament, when you hear talking heads like myself say, hey, even though they did lose against Wisconsin, I still think that they are peaking at the right time here. You have the defense, you have the rebounding, you have the bench. 3 things that we've all seen throughout the entire season. But now elevated play from Jeremy Fears in his last 2 games. You have elevated 3-point shooting in the last 7 games for Michigan State. Is this something that you could actually feel inside of a locker room here? Or is this just like cliche? No, you actually can't really feel it until you're in the dance, in the games, Connor.
Yeah. No, I think we're hitting our stride. Just like you said, in terms of the defense, all of our players are stepping up right now. Shooting has gotten a lot better at the end of the season, which is what a lot of us were waiting to see. So the fact that we're starting to do that and put that into our game, and we're knocking down shots at big times is huge. And I think that's definitely a momentum. You can feel that in the locker room. Like once you pick up all those pieces that like you've been wondering about all year and it starts to come into play, you're in the locker room and you're ready to go in March, and you're excited. And there's definitely some carryover from even a loss to Wisconsin, right? That's a good team. Like we're the Big Ten tournament is arguably, well, it's not even arguably, sorry. It's not tougher than the NCAA tournament, but like the competition from night 1 in the Big Ten tournament
right.
till the final game, like you could be seeing a lot of these similar types of teams further on in the NCAA tournament,
Yeah.
So it's a great way to get this roller coaster started. That is March.
Like there is no, there's not an off date in the NCAA tournament. Bryant is going to, have Michigan State with their hands full potentially. But you don't start with a quad 1 game, just like you did in the Big Ten tournament against Oregon. And then, hey, for the semifinal, you get another break. Oh, it's a great Wisconsin team who has a guy that's 39 years old and just was dotting every single 3 that he was taking. So, no, I get what you're saying. And it's a fine draw for Michigan State in this NCAA tournament, but it's still going to be a battle. And when I think of where are they peaking in the right moment, it's not even just the shooting for me. I specifically look at the player Jeremy Fears, because it's been like up and down to end the regular season. I don't think that's unfair to say. He had some really good games. He had some games that weren't so great. But I thought in the tournament, the Big Ten tournament, he looked really solid. And against a Bryant team that is experienced, that is all 6'6", 6'7", or 6'8", he's going to see older, longer guys. It's good to see him playing with a little bit of confidence. Is there any player that sticks out more to you than Jeremy Fears as far as like playing really well late in the season? Or are you going to go with Mr. Fears giving you the most confidence here lately?
Yeah, Jeremy, he's been playing terrific, right? I love the tempo he pushes the ball.
Yeah,
He
totally.
controls the offense. He's been doing a phenomenal job. I think Trey Holloman, obviously, he's been stepping up, honestly, like shooting. He's
Mhm.
become more of a leader, and he's kind of stepping up, making some big time shots for us. That obviously we expect Jaden and Jace to do that for us, but we also have we have a lot of depth and we have a lot of
Yeah.
bench points, but I feel like Trey has been stepping up, and him and Jeremy have been pretty exciting to watch.
So on Tuesday, Izzo had this press conference. He said a bunch of things, obviously, because that's what he does when he gets in front of a microphone. But one thing that I thought was interesting is that he said, he saw some things on film that were concerning, but also very fixable. And I know that, he wasn't specific at all, but being a former player, do you have any inkling as to what he's talking about and what's very fixable? Is it guys being out of position on defense? Is it
Mhm.
something easy like missed box outs or fundamentals? Or try to decode what he means by that. Like he sees concerning things, but they shouldn't be too concerned because they will be easily fixable. Because I'm just racking my brain over here.
Yep, and I don't know at all what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. They're watching film every single day, right? They're spending a lot of time, especially as they're not like they're still practicing hard, and
Sure.
it's just more efficient, right? Like they're doing it in an hour, 15 hour, 30 minutes as opposed to 2.5 hours 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of film work, dissecting, team schemes and what they're doing and what our game plan is. I think when he's talking about, there's a lot of things that we can fix. It's always defense. It's whether you're in your gap or not. It's whether you're, boxing out on defense, which as a fan now, I'm not noticing as much. I
Sure.
still see it, but I'm like, why can't we? We gotta box out. We got to get that rebound. There's no way they should be getting, 10 or whatever offensive rebounds per game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the things that happen during a game that does not like, and that's the things that they're watching film on. Is are they running their lanes on the break correctly? Are they boxing out? Are they in their gaps on defense? Are they switching screens? How are the bigs coming up on ball screens? Stuff like that.
So I do want to talk a little bit about just, Bryant. We're not going to, blow this out, be a whole preview. We're going to get more into the Bulldogs here in a little bit, but it's a solid Bryant team. Like,
Mhm.
just what we said, they're long, athletic, they're experienced, but they also play fast. They're seventh
Yeah.
nationally in adjusted tempo. They have 75.5 possessions per game, which is third most amongst tournament teams. So while that is, maybe like just scary to hear all these numbers that a team is
Yeah.
really good in the tournament. What a surprise. Every team is just a little bit good, at least. Michigan State is 10-1 against teams that are inside the top 100 in adjusted tempo. So it seems, knock on wood, not that we ever jinx on the show, that like this should be a style of play that kind of fits Michigan State. So when you see that Bryant, it's this team
Mhm.
that just run and guns, they try to put the ball up in the air as soon as they possibly can. Are you thinking that's not the worst thing in the world for our Spartans here, Connor?
Whew, you just dug out some crazy numbers there.
Yeah, you like that? I had a
So
lot of downtime
yeah,
at work today.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know that at all. Those are some good stats right
Gotcha.
there. But yeah, no, I obviously I've heard that that they are fast. They play fast pace. I know that. I like it because I think defensively we're always locked in and we know what to
Sure.
expect. If you're gonna be devil's advocate, you're like, okay, if you get caught in a bad shooting night, right? There's going to be a lot of shots in this game.
Yeah.
We're going to need to, obviously, I think it starts on defense. If we can slow them up, I still like us running and gunning. I think that we do it better than anyone in the country. So, like, when I hear someone's trying to do that to us, I think we have the advantage because we're the best team in the country at doing that. We've been doing it for as long as Izzo's been the coach. So that's kind of our motto is run, defend, rebound, and run. So when I hear that on other teams, it does. I do like our chances, right? But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of shots that are taken. So hopefully they don't have a hot night and we have a cold night.
Yeah, or hopefully, Jeremy Fears doesn't take a step back, get flustered by that, full court pressure.
Yeah.
Should Brian want to implement any of that?
Right.
Because he has had like some issues throughout the season. Again, he is on an upward trajectory, at least the last week of the season, but we've seen it happen.
Yeah, I would say this year too. I mean, I like handling the pressure has been, a lot better than the past couple of years in terms of pressure, last minute situations, inbounding the basketball. Like we have knock on wood again, we haven't seen us have too many issues that were evident in years past.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized hey, how much I was actually spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. It's also so easy to collaborate with a partner too, guys. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever thanks to Monarch Money. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without any of the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use Locked On College at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's promo code Locked On College at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. Also, guys, Game Time, the greatest place to find tickets. Let's say there's a little tournament game going on in Cleveland. It's only a few hours away from East Lansing, and you wonder, how can I score a good deal on tickets? Well, yeah, it's going to happen over at Game Time. Guys, whether it's a live sporting event, a concert, theatrical performance, Game Time is the best spot to find those tickets, whether you're planning days, if not weeks ahead, or last minute, just walking up to the venue. Guys, they have the Game Time picks. The curation makes it easier to find better value for those tickets to the sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, theatrical performances, what have you. It is so easy. Instead of just tapping 17 different times, then you're surprised by fees at the very end, like every other ticketing site out there. No, with Game Time, you get the upfront cost. It's just 2 taps on your phone. Bam, tickets are sent straight to your phone. I cannot say enough nice things about Game Time, guys. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So at this point of the week, we're in the middle of the week right now. We're obviously marching our way up to tip-off. As a former player, where are we in the preparation stage right now? Is it all about this 15 seed? Because you guys had that 15 seed you started off with in 2019 against Bryant. And I know the second round, you've played Minnesota. I forgot the other team that you could have played, though. But you guys didn't get into, the potential second-round matchup just yet, right? Was that all saved for, the day after you win your first round? Or are you actually getting into a little bit of a potential second-round game?
It's a quick tournament, so it's a quick weekend, so
sure.
It's a quick turnaround before the next game. Honestly, yes, we're aware of who we're playing on the other side. If we were to win, right, and we don't want to be the people that are not prepared. So Izzo, the amount of film that we watch, we can get everything in. We don't focus as much on the other two teams, but for instance, scout team, we're gonna know the other team's plays.
Gotcha.
We know all 3 of the teams because possibly we don't know who's going to win that next game. We're preparing solely on Bryant right now. We're watching their film. And at the same time, scout team and everything is getting the other team's plays down, everything, so that when we win, right, if we win, we'll be ready to go. We can go straight into walkthroughs on the other opponent. And then by that time, we know exactly who we're playing. So scout team learns 3 teams' plays. After that game, we wipe 2 of them out the door, and we're focused on the next game. We have all the film, the managers, the GAs, everyone, from the minute that selection committee makes their picks and we see our names on the board and we see our, the whole entire side,
yeah.
We're getting film on every single team. And they work their ass off, getting film and prep work done. And that way, when Iz needs he's like, hey, we're playing, whoever it may be, we have all the film down on them.
So everyone talks about Cassius Winston, Xavier Tillman, Aaron Henry had a really good game against LSU. It's really you. It's really you guys that were the MVP of that tournament. 3 teams worth of offense in your head during the week just to get this team prepped and ready. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back.
You know what?
I will.
I'll do it.
Let's go.
More than happy. I'll take some of the credit there, but no, they're dialed in on Bryant, and that's all that matters. right? They're dialed in on Bryant. If we have to step in, and crazy thing is in that Final Four run, the first game of the year, like I had to go in the first half, which was wild.
You mind talking about that really quick? Because I was going to ask, did you have the same reaction that I had when I was watching at my desk at work, which was, what the hell is Connor George doing in this game right now? Did you have a similar reaction to that, or were you a little more
collected? I did, absolutely. I forget what happened. Like, I shouldn't forget, but I know Kyle was hurt. So Quaid goes down, or it was Quado, like sprains his ankle. He doesn't sprain his ankle. No, someone got in foul trouble. It might have been someone got in foul trouble. DJ looks over to me. He has his little conversation. When I knew that we were in a little bit of foul trouble in the first half, I was like starting to get a little bit like, oh, I got to be a little bit ready and prepared for this moment.
Sure.
And so then I see DJ walk over to Iz, and he's kind of like whispering in his ear. And then he looks down the bench, and I'm kind of leaning a little bit back, like, who are you talking to? He's like, CG, get ready, man. And I'm like, all right. So then they pick up another foul. So I think they might have, whoever it was, why am I blanking on
I know, I for the life of me, I can't remember it.
They had 3 fouls, so I had to go in, and I remember subbing in. Bradley's shooting a free throw as I'm subbing in. So I go into go into our box out like spot, and I look straight up, and it's Quado, who's like one of my best friends, and the only thing I'm thinking is he's like, do not mess this up.
I did not think I'd see you here today.
I was like, I know all their plays.
Yeah, right. I'm the X Factor out here, baby. Come on. It's CG time. It's closing time. That game was horrible, God, because it got really comfortable in the second half for like 14 seconds. It felt like you guys were finally up 10, and then bam, Bradley 10-0 run in 60 seconds, and I felt like throwing up at my place of work. Really avoided an HR meeting later that day. I caused some scenes there, but like,
oh my God.
So, and ever since like that tournament, there's been 4 NCAA tournaments. In 3 of the last 4 tournaments, a 15 seed has beaten a 2 seed. Yeah. So it has happened before. You guys played, of course, but it's getting a little tighter around the collar for a 2 seed ahead of time. So I guess for you guys, like, is it hard to stay loose before a 2 versus 15 game? Are you looking at it as like oh God, we better not F this up game? Or what is the pregame like when you are the 2 seed going against this 15 seed, as weird of a question as that may be?
Yeah, I think for the most part, we were always confident going into the games, into those first rounds when we were higher ranked, higher seeded. We did have that confidence, but at the same time, when that clock hits 0 during warm-ups, it's counting down, whatever it is, there is a lot of pressure on it. People aren't lying when when the 15 seeds come in, they're like, we got no pressure on us. We're going to go and play, right? Like they're going to shock the world. Like that's their mentality, is like, hey, we're good. We won our conference. Like we did X, Y, and Z this year. We had 25 wins. We can hang with anybody in the country. They just didn't get the opportunities, right? On the other, it's like one given night. On the other hand, we're going into it. We're like, we're confident. We know that we should be winning this game, but at the same time, anything can happen in one given night. So then right when it's jump ball, right when it's tip, it's like, all right, we can't be messing around. There was a little bit more pressure. And then if you're losing, for instance, in like the first half with like 4 minutes to go, like now you're sitting in the 4-minute media timeout, coach is ripping you. You're kind of looking around like, is this going to happen? Like, it is a little bit nerve wracking. And then, for luckily for us, we had Cassius at the end there, like my final.
That helps. That helps.
It does help having one of the national player of the year candidate, like one of the best players in the country that can, and he was always just so relaxed. Like, Cash totally was never nervous. Like he was just going out there to hoop. Like he was just the best at what he did, just naturally, So it was great that he was our leader during those final couple tournament runs, because he definitely settled everyone in. When you're looking around and I'm saying like people are like, oh shit, like this can't happen. Cash was like, no, we're good. That's just his mentality.
Our friends over at 5 Hour Energy, they're going to help us out this March Madness season, guys. Or, hey, you know what? Let's say that basketball really isn't your thing, which why are you listening to the show in the first place anyway? Let's say it's just daylight savings. You know, something that snuck up on you once again, and now you're feeling that lost hour of sleep. Well, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine, yeah, it means more fun at nighttime, sure, but my goodness gracious, sometimes you need a little bit of boost to power you through those earlier mornings, or hey, maybe even at night to carry you through those outside activities. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with that busy day of yours, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. And my goodness gracious, I can't think of a better sponsor than right now when Michigan State is steering a 10 o'clock game. That's PM, 10 o'clock PM game down the barrel for Friday. Guys, no shame if you're going to need a few 5 Hour Energies during your day to get to tip-off when our Spartans tip off against Bryant. Yeah, 5 Hour Energy here to save us. Head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango, way more, guys. Go check them all out. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one right now? Well, grab a 5 Hour Energy at your local grocery or convenience store. Guys, they are everywhere. You already know that. So stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. The best. And so you guys also had, it was the year prior too, against Bucknell, I believe, when you guys were the 3 seed, I want to say, maybe the 4 seed, but regardless, like a mid-major, and they really played you guys close during the entire game.
Yeah.
So both like the Bradley and the Bucknell game, close game, you're supposed to win by double digits, but of course it's never that easy in March Madness. Was there ever a time in either of those games where you're feeling like maybe the wall's closing in, or like the players are getting a little tight? Is it like at halftime? Is it more in the second half? Or is it just different situations depending on the game where things start to get into like pucker territory?
Yeah, like when teams are not missing, right, and you're doing everything correct, or you're following the game plan, and you're like, hey, you know, big boy can't shoot, and he goes out there and makes 2 threes.
Of course.
You know, and then it's like we're like, what is going on? Like, is it just one of those nights? Or, you know, those things start creeping in your head. At least they did for me. Like, I don't know if it.
Yeah, everyone's different, of course, but
you know, but I'll, you know, me watching it, I'm like, oh no, like this is not good. But like they weren't missing. I remember they were hot, and
yeah.
Then you have 40 minutes. You realize that the game's 40 minutes, and we have a lot of time, and like, you don't want it to get to the 8-minute mark in the second half and it be close. But, you know, for us we're like, let's get our run. Like, when's our run going to come? We just got to stay the course, follow the game plan. I don't care that he hit 2 threes. Our scout specifically said he's not a shooter. So, like, we'll play good defense, right? We're not like, we'll have a hand up, but like, we'll live with it, I guess. You know, that's what the coaches said. That's what the scouting report says. So if he wants to keep shooting them and, you know, live and die, like, we have to trust the scouting report at the same time. And that's where I think the coaches' relationship and the players and the scouting and all that stuff that we do at MSU, I think does a great job of preparing us. So we just got to trust the coaches, and we got to do our job, and eventually we'll make our run. And that's what you got to hope for in those like tough situations.
So you're telling me the coaches and the players have more mental toughness than this podcast host, who will flip over a table and start crying if Bryant goes up like 7-3 before the under 16 timeout.
Yeah, okay. Right.
That's good to know for
that
everyone.
That initial run that freaks everybody out. Like, oh no. When you're
Despite
watching
the fact that all this team has done is just get in holes early on and then climbed out of them almost every single game. Despite all that, I will still panic if like Bryant hits the first layup to go up 2-0. I will be saying like, it's over. It's done.
Of course. That's how the world works.
Yep.
It's not just I'll be right there with you.
No, I can't wait to be the worst version of myself on Friday night. That's going to be just an awesome time for everyone involved. I did have. Sorry.
Balls. Hide the kids.
I will be out of the house. I will not be within 500 feet of any children or family members for this one. This is going to be a go ahead and just watch at the bar with a few friends sort of evening here. We'll see if they're still my friends after this one. I did have this question, though, because obviously Bryant is mid-major, low-major, whatever you want to call it. It's not Power 5 hoops. And you've seen Bucknell play. You've seen a bunch of non-conference teams, of course, at Michigan State. What is the biggest difference between, like, high major programs like your Michigan States, for example, And then the guys that play in like 3,000 seat gyms somewhere in Rhode Island, like, is it physicality, speed, shooting? Because they're still good. They're still getting scholarships at the end of the day. But what is that difference primarily when these two teams meet?
Yeah, I think it is. It's potential. It's raw talent. Like it's how do you build a kid up that is a 5-star recruit out of high
Sure.
school, and get them into the best version of themselves and elevate them to the next level. Like everyone, you can tell when someone comes in if even if they're not there yet, you're like, okay, this guy's gonna be a pro, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's so athletic, he's so quick. It's more mental. Like if he can get defensively, if he can start doing the right things, like they're not taught very well in high school, to be honest.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a high school coach now, so
yeah,
I know
it's your fault.
they're not, like they don't understand some of the nuances and what you have to do to be a great player. There's a lot that goes into it outside of just making and missing shots. So if we can develop these high level athletes from high school, I don't know if I'm answering your question well, but
no, it's fine.
The athletic ability, you can see it, the wingspan, the length, it's all there, right? Like we can go into a matchup, I'm not going to lie, and be like, okay, they're not as big as us. They're not as athletic as us. They're a little bit smaller. Their guards are a little bit smaller. Their bigs are smaller. You can just see it. That doesn't mean that they're not insane. Like they could transfer. Like you can get as a team when you merge the 5 together. They're all very good, and they were all very good in high school. They all merge into a mid-major. If you put them into the Big Ten, they're probably not going to have a great success rate. But if each of them transferred to a different Big Ten school, they could have an impact, right? But they wouldn't be the stars on the team, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
yeah, I mean it's a hard one to answer, but like I guess it just does come down to like just raw athleticism. I mean they're not rated 4-star and 5-star for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
Like you can kind of see just physically the form right there, the athleticism, and then it helps when you can also make a shot or two every once in a while too.
There's those people though that are in mid-major that didn't get a look that make it. So there's always those one-offs that like, hey, everyone missed them. So I'm not trying to bash them at all. Like they're great players.
It is what it is. Yeah. There is a reason there is such a wide gap here. I mean, so I got a mailbag question right here. This is from Greek Omelet. I'm sure it says that on their driver's license. I'm sure that's a government issued name, but they asked, how should the team kill time on game day until the 10 p.m. tip? Now, my suggestion was from the minute you wake up to the minute that game tips off, you watch the 2016 Michigan State Middle Tennessee State game on repeat to drill into your head that you better come into this game sharp. But I'm sure you have something more nuanced in this, Connor. Like, how does a team stay fresh all day? March Madness mayhem's going on all around you, just bombs going off everywhere. Because you guys did have a late game in the second round in 2019, I remember. You guys had a late game in 2017, your freshman year. Like, what do you do during the day here leading up to tip-off time?
Yeah, we'll wake up, we'll eat breakfast, we'll watch our film, we'll do walkthrough. That's all either before or after breakfast. We switch it up every now and then. But
gotcha.
Then after that, we'll have about 30 to 40 minutes before the early games are. Everyone will get court time. It's just early in the morning. So
Gotcha.
We'll go into the facilities at the NCAA tournament, have our practice walkthrough, and that's closed in the morning. And then we'll come back, hang out for a little bit, probably, relax. And then we'll go down for pregame is going to be about 4 hours. It's exactly 4 hours before game time. So we're hanging out in between. We get back from practice, we're chilling. We're probably watching some games. We're taking our mind off of it. Like we are watching the tournament, like when we're and we'll get a couple people together. Like whether you want to be on your own, that's cool. If you want to be in a group, you got a couple people to just hang out with, kick it, like watch the games, and just kind of take your mind off of it. Some people work differently. I enjoyed watching the tournament. I was for sure watching the tournament. I think everyone at least had it on, but you're chilling, watching the games, and then you're going back 4 hours before the game. You're eating. Coach is going to give you, his speech or whatnot before, and then you're immediately going upstairs for about an hour and a half, getting ready, getting changed, getting on the bus. So you have some downtime, but not much. You're still watching,
Okay.
a ton of film and walking through a lot.
That's good to know. And, just last question that I got, this just popped up as you were talking. What is, does Tom Izzo ratchet it up for, like, a pregame tournament speech? Like, does he reach another level? Is he hitting his stride when he goes into March, or does he really just have the same energy throughout the entire season when it comes to the pregame stuff?
No, the pregame stuff are always top notch
Okay.
from start to finish. So it's not very different, right? But it means more, and you can tell. It's obviously crunch time. It's more of the speech is like, hey, we don't get this back. Like if
it's true.
It's the last day, so we have to act like it. Like you have to go in there. We have to do everything right. This is what we've been preparing for all season. We go through a grueling schedule, X, Y, and Z, whatever he wants to say. But it's pretty. He ups it up a little bit, I guess, and then we all look at each other like, all right, we get kind of hyped from it, and we know it's ready. It's on.
Oh God, it is on. Oh God, I can't do this, man. Oh!
Chills, man. It's getting me thinking. I'm getting like chills, like picturing all this stuff that we used to do like before all these games, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Man, well, I'm glad you're handling it better than I am. I am a wreck every single March Madness, but you, as a former player that has been between the lines during a tournament game, that's just an extra dash of specialness on top of that. That's look at you, man. Can't thank you enough for all your time, man. This is always a hoot and a half having you on. This is some great insight. Glad we got someone that was not just in a locker room, but in a locker room of a Final Four team, Big Ten title winning team, nevertheless. So appreciate you as always, CG.
Yes, sir. Be back soon.
And thanks for not screwing it up against Bradley. Way to not screw the pooch there. Way to go. You made us proud.
Thank you, guys.
You got this. All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to get more into Bradley, what am I saying? We're going to get more into Bryant a little bit. And, just keep on just having panic attacks as we go towards tip-off. Can't do it. But we will do it here on Locked On Spartans. Love you all. Go green.